Good morning and welcome to 7.6, where we will continue to work with fractions on a number line. Before we begin, please make sure you have a copy of Math Journal page 232 and Math Journal page 233 in front of you. If you do not have these yet, please pause this video and make sure that you have a set. Let's warm up our brains with some quick looks. Ready? What fraction did you see? That's right. 1 out of 3 parts were shaded in, or 1/3. Here's the next one. Ready? Quick look. What fraction did you see shaded in on this quick look? That's right. 1/2 of this shape is shaded in. Last one. Ready? Quick look. What fraction did you see this time? That's right. 2 parts were shaded in out of 5, or 2/5. You might also look at this the other way and say 3 out of 5 pieces, or 3/5, are not shaded in gray. Here's a fraction number line. What is something that you notice, and what is something that you wonder? If you'd like, you can write this down on the back of your Math Journal pages. You might notice the fractions that are listed on the number line are counting by halves. You might also notice that 1/2 is 2 halves, and that this number line goes up to 4 halves. And you might be wondering, why are there halves of apples on the pages? Here's today's math message. If you have somebody at home you can work with, you can certainly do this with them. Otherwise, try it by yourself. The red fraction circle piece represents 1 whole apple. Use the pink fraction pieces to show 1/2 of an apple, and 2/2 of an apple, and 3/2 of an apple. Be ready to show what you did. Please pause this video to give yourself some time. How many pink halves make up 1 whole apple? You should know that 2 of these pink pieces, or 2/2, cover the whole and make 1 whole apple. How many halves name less than 1 whole apple? 1/2, or 1 of these pink fraction circle pieces, make up less than half, or half an apple. How many halves make up more than 1 whole of an apple? 2/2 makes a whole, so if I have 3/2, then I will have more than a whole. 1/2, 2/2, 3/2. Now you need Math Journal page 232 in front of you. Look at number line A. Into how many equal parts is the distance from 0 to 1 divided? You might have to think about this in terms of fraction bars. I could fit a bar here, here, and here between the tick marks. How many sections or equal parts is the number line divided into between 0 and 1? That's right, 3. Or thirds. What point on the number line is the green arrow pointing to? What makes you think that? If we count by thirds, 0 thirds, 1 third, 2 thirds, we know that the triangle is 2 thirds away from 0. It's moved 2 equal parts. Is 2 thirds greater than or less than 1? Well, here's the 1 on the right, so we haven't reached it yet. So 2 thirds is less than 1. Let's label each part on the number line. Get your pencils ready. Again, we have 0 thirds, 1 third, 2 thirds, and 3 thirds. What fraction of the distance from 0 to 1 is each part? From one tick mark to the next tick mark. Each section is counting by 1 third. We add 1 more third each time we move on this number line. I know you see 4 tick marks, but we do not count the 0 as the distance, because the distance from 0 to 0 is 0. From 0 to 1 third is a third, from 1 third to 2 thirds is a third, and from 2 thirds to 3 thirds is a third. Now let's look at number line B. How is number line B different from number line A? If you notice, this is almost similar to our number lines we were working with yesterday. Number line A only goes to 1 hole, whereas number line B goes up to 2 holes. Think of A as 1 fraction circle and number line B as 2 fraction circles. How many equal parts are marked from 0 to 1 in number line B? Again, if you need to, you can think about fraction bars being in between each tick mark. That's right, it is divided into 2 parts, which means our fractions are going to have a denominator of 2. How many halves away from 0 is each point? So from 0 to this point is what fraction? Or how many halves? Let's go back to our notice and wonder from before. Remember how we might have been wondering how each picture is the same at each fraction? That's because we're only adding 1/2 each time. So the distance between each point on this number line is 1/2. Just like the distance between each tick mark on number line B is also 1/2. Go ahead and label each fraction. Pause this video to give yourself more time. Great job! You can compare your fractions on your number line to the fractions on my number line if you need to double check. Now let's look at where our green triangle is. Our green triangle is on 3 halves. Is 3 halves greater than, equal to, or less than 1? How do you know? If 1 represents 1 whole, that's 1 whole fraction circle, and we need another half a piece or a pink piece. So we have more than a whole. Anything to the right of 1 on our number line is going to be greater than 1. Fractions greater than 1 are located to the right of 1. Think of this as your vocabulary for the day. Again, fractions greater than 1 are located to the right of 1. What can you tell me about 2 and 4 halves? That's right, they're equivalent. 4 halves is the same thing as having 2 wholes. Now let's look at number line C. Again, I've labeled for you. Anything to the right of 1 is greater than 1, and anything to the left of 1 is less than 1. If you'd like to mark this on your paper, you can pause the video to give yourself time to do that. Now let's look at our number line. How many equal parts are marked between 0 and 1? 1, 2, 3, 4. What fraction of the whole is each part? If it's divided into 4 equal parts, the fraction needs to have a 4 in the denominator. And we count each by 1 unit fraction. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. Please go ahead and label those now. And you'll notice that I stopped at 4/4, which is equivalent to 1 whole. If you need to, you can go ahead and finish labeling your fourths now. Please remember to keep adding 1 more to the numerator each time. Now let's look at where our green triangle is. What fraction names the first point on the number line? What fraction names where our triangle is on our number line? That's right, 3/4. 1, 2, 3/4. Is 3/4 greater than, less than, or equal to 1 whole? Well, if it's to the left of the 1, that tells me it's less than 1 whole. What fraction names the second point on our number line? I'll move our triangle. 5/4. Is 5/4 greater than, less than, or equal to 1? That's right. 5/4 is greater than 1 because it's to the right of the 1 on the number line. You try number line D. First, think about how many equal parts are marked from 0 to 1. That should tell you the denominator of your fraction. Then ask yourself, what fraction of the whole is each part as you count from one tick mark to the next? Please go ahead and label all of the fractions on number line D. Pause this video to give yourself time. Please check the fractions that you wrote on number line D to what's on the screen. Again, once you reach the whole, your numerator should continue to count up by 1 each time, and the denominator remains the same. Pause this video to give yourself time to check. Once you have finished number line D, then you are going to work on Math Journal page 233 to continue practicing naming fractions on number lines. Once you are done with that, you will complete today's exit slip, which may be given to you as a link by your teacher. Congratulations, you've now finished another day of math.